The brand new Farm Friends update is now live in Lego Fortnite, and so with that in mind, this is everything that you need to know. First things first, the most important part of this update has got to be the brand new barn station. It's really easy to get this built because all you're going to need to do that is 10 planks. Once you have one of these built in your village, you are now ready to go out searching for wildlife. Because with this update, we've actually got a ton of brand new wildlife that you're now going to be able to bring back to your village. So be on the lookout for pigs, which up to this point we've never even had in the game. There's loads of variations of cows now featuring different spot patterns. Keep in mind though that when you're out looking for animals to bring back to your village, you need to be very careful because not all animals are friendly. On top of things that we already had in the game such as wolves, you're now going to be able to find bears and polar bears. These can be massively dangerous, and it's really not a good idea to let these follow you back to your village, because if you do, you could be in some serious trouble. But once you've managed to find some animals that you would really like to be able to bring back to your village, there are some specific steps you've got to follow in order to make that happen. First off, you're going to need to gain the trust of an animal, which works exactly the same way as it used to in Lego Fortnite. All you've got to do here is pet them and they should begin to trust you. But with that said, that is not going to be enough to get them to follow you back to your village. There's another stage that you're going to need to do as well. And that is to form a friendship with the animal. And the only way that you can do this is by giving them an animal treat, which is a recipe that you'll unlock once you've built the new animal house at your village. So it's really important that you have some of these to go when you set out on an adventure to find some animals. They're really easy to create. All it takes is 5 vines and 3 corn, and you can do that at the grill station. As long as you have some animal treats and you've already gained the trust of an animal, all you've got to do is feed it one of those animal treats and they should essentially then become your friend. It's now your job to lead this animal safely back to your village, but you've only got a limited time to do this in. Make sure that you're watching out for dangerous enemies because they can really halt your progress. And if they scare a friendly animal too much, there is always the chance that that animal could just completely run away from you. Getting your wildlife back to your village quickly and safely can be pretty tough, but luckily the Lego Fortnite devs have already given us some tips for this. One of the best ways to transport wildlife back to your village is using a vehicle, and you can literally do that by luring the animal onto the back of it using some food. Animal treats are absolutely perfect for this, and it's definitely one of the best and easiest ways to get your animals all the way back across your survival world. It's actually also possible for you to use a fishing rod to your advantage. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend using this to fish an animal all the way across your world because it would take absolutely ages, but in terms of getting them out of some tricky spots or across a slight gap, it can actually be quite useful. But in terms of crossing water with your wildlife, there is nothing more useful than building a bridge. It's easily one of the most simple ways to get an animal across something like a river, because if there's one thing that we know by now in Lego Fortnite, animals do not like water. Once you've completed the pretty challenging task of actually leading some animals back to your village, you now need to bring them over to your animal house and assign them to it. You might be thinking that now that you've got your animals back to the village and you've assigned them to the animal house, that is the end of your job, but you would be wrong. Because looking after wildlife is a permanent job in Lego Fortnite. You really need to make sure that you're petting your animal, you're feeding them, and also even dancing with them. Because the combination of all of those things is going to make sure that that animal is still happy, which will keep them around in your village. Because sadly, if you don't bother to do any of that, there is the chance that the animal's not going to be happy there and they're literally just going to want to leave. And if you're thinking, oh my days, that sounds like a hell of a lot of effort, I can't be bothered with all that, don't worry because I've got an easy solution for you. If you don't want to be constantly looking after animals yourself, don't worry because you can actually assign this job to a villager. Yes, thank goodness you can get one of your good old classic NPCs to do the job for you and make sure that the animal is always happy. I would strongly recommend doing this because it saves you having to do all the work yourself. And plus, they've actually increased the village account that you can have in one area. It was originally a maximum of 5 NPCs in each one of your villages, but that's actually been increased to 10 now. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can have 10 villagers though, you can have 7 of those and 3 animals. I know this may not be perfect and it's probably not as high as some players would want, but at least it's an increase, which is definitely a good thing. You may be sat there thinking, well, this is all well and good, I've brought animals back to my village, they're all happy, they're doing great, but what exactly is the point of all this? Well, don't fear, because if you keep your animals happy, you will get certain perks for this. If you look after a group of chickens well, they're going to produce feathers for you and also a load of free fertilizer. Cows is going to be very similar in the fact that they give you a load of fertilizer, but of course you're not going to get feathers here, instead they're going to give you milk. And quite a lot of us know how useful this can be because milk is extremely useful for making snowberry shakes as long as you're also growing some snowberries too. If you decide to look after some sheep instead, of course you're going to get the standard fertilizer, but they're also going to give you a load of free wool, which is really useful for when you're making textiles. And finally, if you happen to look after some pigs that you found in your survival world, which by the way are a brand new animal for Lego Fortnite as part of the Farm Friends update, then you will be rewarded with the standard fertilizer just like all of the other animals, but in this case pigs are also going to give you mushrooms. So as you can see, all of these different animal types are going to have very unique perks that you can get hold of as long as you're treating them well. As part of the Farm Friends update, there's also a load of new villagers that you can get to help you on your animal journey as well. It's currently not known exactly how difficult these are going to be to get hold of, but as you can see on screen, I already managed to get Guernsey pretty much straight away. He just turned up, so I can only assume that this guy is not exactly rare. You can also expect a load of original Lego Fortnite villagers that apparently go by the names of Cadence, Ash and Brooks. So if you do happen to see any of these in your village, these are brand new and I would strongly recommend making a bed for them. And finally, if you also happen to spot Lana Lane that you can see on screen here, she is also a brand new villager and is apparently a great engineer. You might recognise her because she was previously seen as a Fortnite crew skin. So if you do happen to see her in Lego Fortnite, once again I would definitely recommend making a bed for her. If you're really looking to push the boat out and create your own farm, an animal house is not the only thing you're going to be able to use. Very soon, you're going to have the ability to build the Anarchy Acres farm from Chapter 1 of Fortnite, meaning you're going to be able to create the most amazing looking farm that you've probably ever seen in Lego Fortnite. But sadly, not all of this is positive, because sadly, you are not going to be able to do this for free. This is actually going to be a brand new Lego kit that's being sold in the item shop very soon for 800 V-Bucks. It's going to come with a selection of different buildings and a whole host of decor items as well. The one positive is this bundle is quite clearly miles cheaper than the previous ones we've got, but a lot of Lego Fortnite fans are not happy that they're even having to pay for it in the first place. When getting involved in all of this animal shenanigans in Lego Fortnite, you may have taken a look at your village square and noticed that something is a little bit different. And this is because the village square has undergone some massive changes. It's now got a completely different UI. It's going to show you who lives in your village like it did before, but now it's also going to show their jobs as well. You'll have the option to make NPCs leave your village, as well as also being able to monitor the happiness of your animals. And on top of that, you'll also get to see who exactly is visiting your village, meaning that if you really want to secure them as a villager, you'll be able to know who's there. And finally, you can now give your village an actual name. Sadly, it's not necessarily exactly what Lego Fortnite players were looking for, because once again, you're not able to name this whatever you want. You're only able to decide from a very specific list. Who knows, maybe this will change in the future at some point, but unfortunately I wouldn't hold your breath. And there we have it, people. That was everything that you need to know about the Farm Friends update in Lego Fortnite. That is pretty much everything I've got for you in this video here today. I guess I'll see you guys in the next one, and peace out.